I don't hear anything. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast. We are joined here this evening with our distinguished guest. He is a candidate for the Florida State Representative District 98. He is a candidate. He is hoping to replace Patricia Williams, who is term limited out and she can no longer run. So we'd like to welcome Mr. Keith Abel to the Adams Brothers podcast. Mr. Abel, welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So we're happy to have you here first and foremost. We talked a little bit off camera here, a little bit here. So we heard a little bit about you. So our viewers that's watching right now, why don't you tell them everything that you want them to know about Keith Abel? Tell them about where you grew up at and where you went to high school and your military career. Just tell them everything that you want them to know about Keith Abel.
Okay. Well, I am Keith Abel, and I'm running for District 98 State Representative. And I'm born and raised in Broward County. Went to Miramar High School. After I decided high school, I decided to go ahead and join the United States Army. And I served in the United States Army for 30 years and 2 combat wars. Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Iraq Freedom. And after leaving the military in 2019, I decided that I need to come back home to Broward County, because this is where my strength is at. This is where the people that I love and who love me, and I want to do good, great things. And one of the biggest things when we got out of the military, they told us, just keep serving. Never stop serving. So it's in my blood to keep serving and helping others. And I got into the politics. I started joining a lot of political organization. And then I also found out there was a niche that was missing. And that niche was veteran. It's like people wasn't doing much for the veteran as for the political side, And I decided that I wanted to become the first president of the Broward County Veteran Caucus, the Democratic Veteran Caucus. So that's what I did there too. And as that journey came more and more, it's more things that was at me the challenging as far as dealing with different communities. And I decided more that I'm gonna go ahead and run for state representative. Well, my leadership skills is so vast. I understand what it is to work under different presidents, whether it be Democrat and Republican. So I understand what it is to actually get together to the table and come to a common ground, because it's about the mission. The mission is what I look at for District 98 is something that's very good for the people. We want better housing. We want to create different jobs. And we want senior awareness. Senior awareness is in Medicaid expansion and also women's rights. So I decided I wanted to be that voice for the people. Not only be the voice, but be the voice that can bring solutions. So that's why I'm running for District 98. And that's pretty much somewhat of it. I have, as far as my educational background, I have a master in logistics, supply chain management, and a bachelor in public relations and marketing.
Well, that's a pretty impressive resume you have right there, Mr. Abel. I'm very impressed, and 30 years in the military, that's a long time, man. And yeah, that's a long time. And thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Serving this country.
Yes. Which brings me to my first question. When I heard that you were in the military, and there's a lot of homeless vets out there, that's on the streets right now that unfortunately they're not able to get, buy a house or whatever. They served the country and, got discharged honorably. And the governor passes a law that allows these cities and law enforcement to arrest them. Homeless people, and again, a lot of our veterans are homeless. What is your take on that? Being that you served 30 years in the military, do you like that law?
No, I
What are your
don't.
thoughts on it?
No, I don't. And it's for to tackle one issue that when you talk about homelessness with veterans, you know, a lot of them are not aware of actually what their benefits are, because a lot of them came out and they were, when they came back in society, they were kind of treated wrong, and they got discouraged. Because there's so what I would plan to do is do a lot of streamlining on getting better veterans their benefits for housing, for so you can cure some of that homelessness. And then we also got to understand there's a big issues with mental illness. So that's also is in depth with that as well. So once they get that part being rehabilitated, then that would be one thing. The next thing is just homelessness is in general. We shouldn't have to tell somebody to tell us that, you know what, we're just gonna kick you out on the streets. We don't care. We're gonna lock you up. We're gonna do all that kind of stuff. That's unjust. It's unright because we don't really know the problem. So what thing we have to do is we have to see what is the problem. How can we help them? What kind of situations do we have? Different buildings that we can actually house homeless people in there and help them get jobs, help them get issues. I mean, deal with some of their issues as well, and basically to see why they're there. But no, I don't like that law to come out.
If elected, will you be able to help cities in your district secure funds to help the homeless, like people sleeping on the streets, and not just in Deerfield or Pompano or Fort Lauderdale? Will you be whatever your district covers? Will you work hard to try and get some funds for these cities to, let's say, put some programs in place for the homeless people and for the homeless people?
Yes, I would definitely do that. Work hard for District 98 and all the 6 cities that I will be covering. The number one thing that I want to do once I'm elected is to have communication, be very transparent with the cities and the residents. So that means getting at the round table with everybody, having town hall meetings, and find out what do you really need. Because I could be saying one thing, and then you be saying, no, Mr. Abel, this is what we need. This is how we can cure some of this thing. And then I'll take that back to Tallahassee and fight for getting funding, whether it's not just for the homelessness, but they may need more education and different programs like that. So that's nothing I will be fighting for.
Okay. All right.
Yes, here in Florida, it has, for the last few years now with hurricanes, we have had the homeowners insurance has been skyrocketing. I mean, and they have been changing the laws. And if elected, what would you do, or what kind of pieces of legislation, if possible, would you bring to make homeowners insurance here in the state of Florida more affordable?
Or bring in more competition.
That's definitely what we need, definitely. But we have to make ourselves to a way that we can see a way out. One way is out is let's bring in, when we talk different type of infrastructure. We know that we got all this type of bad weather that's coming through here. So how do we fix it? How do we fix the flooding? So bring in better infrastructure that will help that, so that homeowner will not be taxed so much, because you may be saying that you're in the risk areas. And if that risk area, some things are done to make it not as great of a risk, it makes it better for the insurance. Also, too, informing the homeowners, what are different type of programs can you actually do? I mean, have to go with your actually insurance. And I had to learn some things like that on my own. The next thing is to take public and private companies to help out with the burdens that it take off the homeowner. So you can work some kind of deal, like, and when you talk about, I think the biggest one out now is what, Citizens? They're the biggest one. I have Citizens too. So to have to sit at the table and say, okay, well, let's see if we can get some kind of breaking ground to where all that burden is not put on the homeowner themselves. So those type of legislators that I would actually push to But once again, it starts sitting to the table with everybody.
And I heard you mention drainage. What cities do District 98 cover? First of
Yes,
all,
definitely.
Pompano, Deerfield, you know that, Oakland Park, Lauderdale Lakes, Tamarack, and Fort Lauderdale.
And speaking of Fort Lauderdale, we see when you mention drainage, you see when it rains, we get heavy rains here for 2-3 days, a week or so. Fort Lauderdale is hit really, really hard. I mean, these people are just inundated. They're up to that, they're sleeping in water down there. For those people that's down in Fort Lauderdale, what would you do to help secure funds for drainage improvement in that area that needs it the most?
Basically, going back up to Tallahassee, asking for the money for infrastructure. And not only is it in Fort Lauderdale, I noticed, I experienced it in Pompano.
Yes.
Real bad. When I was it was real bad. I mean, so those are things that I would look at, talking with the cities and saying, how do we fix this? How do we fix? But we're going to start with infrastructure. We have to cure that there and also have the money. So my job would be going to Tallahassee. I'm going to get you the money, but this is what we need to do.
Okay. And with the Republicans, Mr. Abel, with the Republicans having the supermajority here in the state of Florida, if elected, how could you help break the gridlock that's there and get tangible legislation passed? And can the Democrats be effective in passing legislation with the Republicans holding the supermajority?
That's a good question, and that's something that's asked all the time. And I say, first of all, it goes with a mindset. When I go to Tallahassee, I'm not looking at going to be defeated. We got to we got to make some changes, and we got to compromise on certain things. So we got to work with everybody. So I don't look at it as that we got the Republicans, we got the Democrat. It's what type of plan do we have? See, if you don't have a plan, then you're doomed to fail. So I would have different plans going up there, so I would be able to negotiate and sit down with the Republicans and Democrats and say, this is what I propose. Because I've heard what the people in my district want, and I'm sure that the other district want it as well. Then you take that same idea and you relate to them, because someone somewhere has got the same situation, whether it's a Republican and whether it's a Democrat. So it's all about sitting at the table, crossing over the lines and saying what's best for the people. It's bigger than us. So if you don't have a plan in going forward to Tallahassee, then you're bound to lose. And I think sometimes when people say, well, can you do this? You start with the mindset first. And my plan will be to go ahead and have something written down before I get there to negotiate with. Study my opponent. Understand what they want and what they have done in the past. What works, what don't work. And depending on what subject it is, let's go for it. But I will have a plan ready to go. That's what I say, I'm boots on the ground, ready to serve the people.
Yes. And how would you how do you plan to get your constituents involved in the decision making while you're in Tallahassee?
Getting them engaged, whether it's through town hall meetings, whether it's through viral, talking about having video things, or either actually going door to door, having different meetings, just like I'm doing right now, being in the community, being engaged with the people. We got too many people who go up to Tallahassee, but don't know what's really going on in their neighborhood. And the good thing about me being a retired person, so when I'm not in Tallahassee, I'm back in the district. I'm walking around and seeing what's going on. I'm going to be going out to the meetings. I'm going to be going and talking to them. I'll be going to the different functions that they have just to see what's going on and looking for solutions. So that would be my thing, constantly being engaged.
So you'll be accessible to your constituents at times. I mean, not all the time because you have a life, but you will definitely be accessible to your constituents.
Yes.
attending town hall meetings,
Being highly visible.
highly visible.
Right. And just having those town meetings, going to the football games, going to the basketball game, going out to the festivals, going out there and just seeing what's going on, because everybody communicates in different ways. So you have to be relatable to the people, because after all, you're working for the people. You're here to serve them. And this is what I've been doing over 30 years.
Speaking of football games, when you said football games, how would you reach out to the young people and get some of their ideas? Because a lot of times the young people in their 20s and 30s and early teen, you know, the 18, 19, the 20s and the early 30s, sometimes they feel that the politicians don't listen to them and their ideas and their thoughts aren't being heard. How would you reach out to them and get some ideas from them that you can take up to Tallahassee?
And I know I felt that way when no one was listening. I used to attend all the meetings, and they used to dismiss me for the older people there. That's how it worked back then.
How would you reach out to them?
How would you reach out to them, though?
Just like I'm doing right now. I would actually go, if I'm going to get a haircut, I just started a conversation to the barbershop. You got to go where they're at. You can't sit here and say, okay, well, I'm in Tallahassee, I can't do this. You have to meet the people where they're at so they know. If that's in the schools, if that's at the different stores, if that's at the grocery store, the shopping malls, whatever, because they're all over. They may be at the colleges. And then I said, you know what I want to do? I want to have an advisory board for the youth to support me. So when I get in, I want to have the youth, I want them at my table as well as the seniors and everyone. But I want them to have their own advisory board so I can hear them. And let them come up with some solutions. And we kind of test it out, because they are our future.
Yeah. And do you think that the National Democratic Party and the local Democratic Party is doing enough to help candidates like you break that supermajority hole that the Republicans have now in Florida? Because I hear a lot of people say, Mr. Abel, that the National Party, I know years ago, I remember President Clinton and Al Gore, Vice President Gore, used to come to town and they used to stomp for the local politicians when Florida was still, you know, half and half. Do you think that they're doing enough? And do you think that the Florida Democratic Party is doing enough to help candidates like you break that gridlock again and get elected and break that hold on that supermajority that's being held in the state of Florida right now?
What I believe is you got to be a part of it. You got to be engaged. And I'll just take you back to this here, how I was raised. I remember one day when my father was coming home and he noticed a piece of paper that was on the lawn. And he said something to us about not picking that paper up. So in my mindset is how I was raised as a child, is that you don't wait for someone to tell you something, you do it. You know, when you see things that need to be done, you actually do it. So it taught me to pick up that paper, but not only that, but to get involved. If you see something that you want to make a change, then you go ahead. And don't stop, you just get involved in. As for looking at the party, should they do different things? My job would be to open up the doors and give them ideas. This is how we could reach our communities. You got to be involved. You got to get engaged. So let me be that vessel and I'll make that happen.
Okay, we got a question from one of our viewers. It says, what is your opinion on the firing of Fort Lauderdale City Manager Greg Chavaria?
Well, I'm not too well abreast of that situation, so I really can't have any comment for that per se.
Right. Okay, my next question is a big one. We all been hearing about Project 2025. It is a collection of conservative and right-wing policy proposals from the Heritage Foundation to reshape the United States federal government. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people up there in Florida that's going to be supporting that Project 2025. And when you get up there, if elected, what are your thoughts on Project 2025? Because I'm not liking what I'm reading. I'm not liking what I'm hearing. I just want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, my thoughts, go back to this. having a plan. The Republicans have a plan. We need to have a plan as well, too. We can't just wait till something happens. What is our plan of going to Tallahassee and let's get everybody involved and engaged? So that's how I look at it. And I talked to a lot of younger folks have been talking, we talked about that because some say, well, man, I'm not even voting or I'm not even doing X, Y, Z. And I'm saying to them, this is the plan. So let's say you at 25 right now. This plan, this stuff that they put into action will affect your kids. So you need to get involved. Do I agree with the stuff in there? No. But we need to have our own plan to counteract on whatever Project 2025 is. We cannot stay. We had a lot of people who fought hard for us just to have a right to vote, just to be able to do a lot of things. And we cannot sit down and not move forward. Like I said, I'm in Florida, I'm staying, I'm not leaving, and I'm fighting. I'm not going to jump out of my seat for another position. I'm not going to be no puppet, but I'm going to work for the people. And if that Project 2025 try to come alive, I'm going to do everything I can to stomp it out because we need to have our own plan. You can't win the war without a plan.
Yeah, you're gonna need a plan. You're definitely gonna need a plan because they're putting that plan out there. They're already showing you and telling you basically what they want and what they would like to do. They want to get rid of the EEOC. You know, the EEOC is a federal. They're neutral. If you have, if you're on a job or something and you feel like you've been discriminated against and everything, and you want to file, you went through the proper protocols on your job and you didn't get any answers, and you think that you've still been wronged, then you could file a claim or a charge with the EEOC. But these people, they want to get rid of the EEOC. So again, I know you just talked on it, but and that's part of what they are proposing to get rid of.
Right, and it's a lot of stuff. You sit down and you read it, and that's why I'm educating a lot of people about it. Say, this is the reason why I'm running. This is the reason why I'm asking for your vote to put me into Tallahassee so I can fight for it. But not only that, I want you to help me as well too. Don't forget me. Don't just leave me up there and let me just go by the ways. But one, we need to get you registered to vote. Now we need to find out, what do you see? What is the vision? Because now I'm working for you. Let's take this and let's move this toward Tallahassee. And going back to what we even talked about, getting the young people involved, getting the community involved, how do we reach out to everybody? Those are where you start. And this here is a good method what I use. This Project 2025, this is what it's going to look like. So whether you get involved or not, some things are trying to happen and it's going to become. So we need you to be involved. So I'm pressing that issue. I am definitely pressing that issue. That's something that we don't need.
I hear people talk about Project 25. I've been hearing a lot lately. I listen to a lot of the talk shows, Roland Martin, a lot of other talk shows on podcasters, and some of them say Project 2025 is another scare tactic to scare Black people into voting in masses. Now, if you ask me, who I've been around for the last 57 years now, and from my history, that I know my history well, Project 2025 has been going on since 1968. I don't see anything different what they're trying to do now that they haven't been trying to do for the last 55 years now.
They have become so blunt and just saying it. So now it's like, I don't even care. I'm not even going to hide about it. I'm going to tell you in your face so you even know. Because every little thing they keep chipping and chipping. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, just like somebody had said something before about the Jim Crow's laws and stuff like that. There was this, well, we don't want to get in that, but it was a situation. And now we just people run around and just saying it like, oh. But it's going back to what I'm saying about when I talk to the young people who are even not voting. I'm like, do you realize that one upon a time, our race couldn't vote? A lot of people didn't vote, women, all that. And they just telling you in your face. It's not like, I don't even got, it's like blatantly disrespectful. I don't even have to hide. So I'm like, it's real. So I don't think it's a scare attack. It's just saying this is what's going on. And then not only that, I say, let's not only just focus on President Biden and Trump. What's going down here at your local level? This is where you need to be at. This is where everything starts at. You know, your home association. If you want to go buy a new house there, you want to your cities. You want playgrounds in your cities there. There's a lot of different things that big construction is going to be going up and popping up. What's going on? A lot of different schools. These are the things you need to be concentrating on right now. You need to get involved. And if you go to those meetings, and I have challenged a couple of friends of mine, I say, go to the city commission meetings for this year. They go to at least 3 of them and then write me and tell me what you thought of it. And if they tell you, the older folks want to tell you this and that, you stand your ground and you speak. You speak. That's what you do. No. This is what it is. Because you're going to want the same thing for me when I go to Tallahassee. So I'm telling you, this is where it starts at. Because at the end of the day, you may be my next senator. You know, that's what we need to be doing. Oh, yeah. So I'm very passionate about this, as you can see. I'm very much.
Yeah. We send people to Tallahassee and to local entities in our governments, but then we don't stick behind them. We don't give them no tangible ideas, and then we expect, and then, you know, when the person is there, then they come back, the community most of the time come back a year or 2 later and say, oh, well, that person haven't done anything. What if you really asked them, they couldn't tell you anything what you done, because they don't know themselves, but they just talking. They just saying, well, that person haven't did anything. But how can a person like you go to Tallahassee without the constituents telling you what they want? So if you don't tell, if the constituents don't tell you, Mr. Abel, what they want, how do they expect you to really be able to go and know exactly what their wants and needs are? And then you answer that, and then I just basically wanted to say that, but we also have another question too. One of our viewers. One more
question before we wrap.
When we'll let you go.
I mean, I'm on the road. Yeah, come on. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah, no, it was just that saying that, you know, we send people to Tallahassee and to local governments, and then we don't stick behind them or stand behind them or give them any ideas, and we expect that they suppose, a lot of us, I'm saying not me, but people in the community, especially in our community, that's what I'm speaking of, because we have that mentality that where we'll send a person, we'll go vote for some person and think that they magically are supposed to read our mind what they need, and then we'll go back and trash them and say, oh, well, they're not doing anything, when you have not contacted me and gave me any piece of legislation to even submit in Tallahassee or locally. I'm just saying that's the problem that I see with our voters. Not just giving them out, sending them out to go and vote, but they need to be educated on
how to submit ideas to you.
How to submit ideas and you know, things in the community that they might see that you might be able to get funding for. You know, they need to be educated more on not just voting, but what you do after the vote has been cast.
Well, to comment on that, one, you're thinking that you go back to when we went to school, civic taught us that. This is the process. Sometimes you don't understand. But I use this example that was given to me, is that sometimes you may have to use somebody else to get your message across. What I mean by that is this, that me personally, as I'm engaged into the community, I would get certain individuals to actually get that process through. Because I know one person can't actually do it alone. So you have to bring other people. You may need to bring somebody who's been in the community longer and say, this is what he's going on, to get that person to talk. You may need to bring in someone from different types of cultural groups, but you got to set it up, and it goes right back again to that plan. What's the plan, Mr. Abel? So when you get in office, how are we going to engage? How are we going to get these people? So I'm going to have different outlets to where I can hear the voice and bring it to me. So, and even now when I'm working in my campaign, people that I'm talking to, because a lot of this grassrooting, this is what I want to hear. Tell me. And I said, now, when I get in there, don't leave me, because you're going to be my ears on the ground. And that's how we're going to bring the people together. We have to.
And you need that. You need eyes and ears on the ground to help you take these ideas that we see and the things that we see that need improvement here. We have to be your eyes and ears.
Yeah, no doubt.
We have to. And for the people out there that's watching, we need to be his eyes and ears. If
don't just put him in office and leave him.
Put him in office and leave him, hang him out there to dry. You know, he can't do everything by himself. We have to help him along the way. And one other question here before we wrap you up. That's in the comments. Deerfield Beach has submitted 4 different financing requests to the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization, but received $0. Are you able to lobby if you are elected to get funds?
To help Deerfield Beach.
Yeah, yes, I will. Now, I'll be doing the same thing for all 6 cities.
Yep.
And once again, it goes back to starting with that plan, talking to the city managers, talking to the city commissioners. What are your top 3 things that you want to see move here? Your top 3. So you got 6 cities. So we talk about 3 times 6, 18 things now we got prepared. Plus whatever the residents want. Let's get them together and let's go for this. Because we got to be strategically how we do it. Because we know we may not get everything right now. Because it's every 2 years. So what's our top priorities? Let's get that. And that's nothing. Grant writing. Let's go ahead and find a grant writing to help you write that grant and push it off to the cities and say, okay, this is what you wanted. You want X amount of this? Okay, now you take that, what I just did, now then I go fight for that. And I take that money and give right there. So sometimes we're gonna have to do our own research. So I'm in it for 98, So we may have to research and find out how do we go about getting that money and what's the proposal. And you have different lobbyists we can work with to actually push what we need. And then you take it up there and say, this is what we're fighting for. You got to have the insight to that. It's time to go. Not time to go, is it? I heard some music. Okay.
No, it's a
music always in the background playing softly. Yeah.
You have any more questions for him before I wrap him up?
Yeah. Will you be able to work closely? And I know you just explained that. Will you be able to work closely to follow up with that question with the 6 cities? I believe you said the mayors, the commissioners, the city managers to get more funding. Do you have that rapport where you would be able to just go in and sit down with them and try to get the request that our viewer there, the question that he's asking there about the financing, do you think you will have the rapport to go in and get the job done and, to get financing for the 6 cities or however many cities?
That would be my job. And I've had the opportunity to sit down with some cities already and talk about and see what are their priorities is. And a lot of people say, what's the first thing that you want to do, the first 100 days you want to do when you go to Tallahassee? When I get elected, the first thing I'm doing, I'm talking to my people here in District 98 before I go to Tallahassee. That's the first thing. Let's all get on the same sheet of music. So there's no difference. So when I go up there, every city, all my citizens understand why they elect me and why I'm going up there. That's what I plan on doing my first day. When I win, I'm going to everybody. So it goes back to that plan. Then when I go to Tallahassee, I have something to be presented with. Yeah. I guess I'll be introduced what they do too, but I have something to say, this is what 98 wants.
And will you have meetings in those 6 individual cities, maybe twice a year, at least twice a year, to update the residents what's going on? Especially, like, I know a lot of times a lot of the representatives come here, like when the commissioners have their district meetings here. If we could see more of that from from you, or I think the people would be a lot more satisfied just to see more and hear more things that's going on. And Patricia Williams did do that. To her credit, she would definitely do that. So I'm not saying she wasn't doing it. She definitely was doing that.
I would do that, and I will also take a next step. I will have the District 98 meeting somewhere with Everybody can come. Yes, I'm going to go to my different cities, 6 cities, but I also want you to come here to me to see. So it could be like you get to see my view, how we run things, the question that you may want. And if I have to stay there at 12 o'clock at night just to talk to you, that's what I would do. That would be my time for you all. For District 98, I'm all in. Boots on the ground, ready to go.
Okay. Well, we're going to hold you to it. Trust me. Because we're going to hold you to everything.
Yeah.
You and every other politician that comes on here, whether they're Democrat or Republican, believe me, we keep these recordings and we go back and we study them whenever needed.
Yeah. Okay, well, Mr. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
The way I look at it is the mission does not evolve around me. I evolve around the mission. And the mission is for District 98 to have a healthy lifestyle and prosper. And that's what I'm going for to do.
Okay. So we're going to give you 2 minutes. Look into the camera and tell the voters here in District 98 in Broward County why they should elect you as the next Florida State Representative for District 98.
Why they should elect Keith Abel, Mr. Keith Abel.
Why you should elect me? Well, one thing is that I am a public servant of over 30 years. I've served this country, I've come back home, and I'm ready to serve you. I understand what it is to work for a diverse community, and I'm willing to fight hard for you. And I am the most qualified person with the leadership skills and diversity of working and know how to get things done. I understand what it is to negotiate. I understand what it is to feel that you want someone to take care of you and you just don't have stuff to do. I'm going to go out there and fight. I'm the guy that will actually do that. And another thing I will leave you is this here. Before my mother passed, she let me know to keep fighting. To keep fighting what you believe in. And I'm going to keep doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly ask for your vote for me to be your next state representative for District 98. I am Keith Abel. Together, we are able.
Early voting starts when?
August 10th.
Primary election is when?
August 20th.
August 20th. And of course, the general election is?
It's what, November 5th?
4th or 5th, something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
I don't even really know the day.
I thought it was the 3rd, but I might be wrong too. Yeah. I need to brush up on that.
Tuesday, so I think it's the 5th. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Mr. Keith Abel. He has an impressive resume.
Yes, he does.
Please go back and watch the playback if you missed the live interview. He is running for the Florida State Representative in District 98, which covers 6 cities here. I believe it's Deerfield, Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, Tamarack, and I believe which other ones did I leave out?
Oakland Park, Lauderdale Lakes.
Oakland Park and Lauderdale Lakes. So that's District 98. So
and how can we reach you on social media? How can anyone reach you to contact you or just want to ask you some questions or your social media if you choose to give that out?
Well, you could go to votekeithabel.com or you can go to Facebook, Keith Abel for State Representative District 98.
Okay. Thank you,
okay,
Mr.
Thank
Keith
you,
Abel,
Mr. Abel.
For coming on and
come back when you win now. You notice what I said. Come back when you win now.
Right.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Definitely do that.
Thank you, Mr. Abel. We enjoyed.
We're gonna hold you to coming back now, Mr. Abel.
And we look forward to seeing you win back on this podcast when you win District 98. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, and you can make that meeting now. Hopefully, we didn't hold you up.